How did the BJP win Delhi and why did Arvind Kejriwal lose? The big Delhi election is still being decoded, and the Lok Niti CSDS survey has thrown up some very, very interesting data points. I'm Barkha Dutt. You're with the Mojo Story. We continue to try and decode the big BJP win in Delhi. The BJP back in government after 27 years, this without declaring a chief ministerial candidate. In a moment from now, we'll be talking to Professor Sanjay Kumar of Lok Niti CSDS that have some very, very interesting data points on why voters voted the way that they did. Was the Modi factor paramount? Did Arvind Kejriwal's brand diminish? Clearly it did. What was the reason for that? Did the corruption allegation against Arvind Kejriwal have a huge impact? There's so much to talk about, including where this leaves the future of the Congress, what this does to the almost defunct India bloc, and what this means for the BJP's new blueprint as it fights assembly elections after taking somewhat of a jhatka in the Lok Sabha elections where the BJP slipped below majority. Let me welcome to the program our newsmaker, Professor Sanjay Kumar, is with us. Welcome, sir. I've been trying to go through all the data thrown up by the Lok Niti CSDS survey, and it's quite interesting. Let's actually start with how many people were fully satisfied with the government of Delhi as well as with the center. Now, what's very interesting is that the Lok Niti CSDS survey found that 2 in 5 voters were fully satisfied with the center and only 28% with the AAP. Now, if you compare this to your own survey in 2020, 76% were satisfied with the AAP in 2020 and 28% in 2025. Now, one of your big findings is that the AAP really struggled to attract voters beyond its fully satisfied base, as you call it. So, jo thode partially satisfied say, people who saw some good points in AAP, they too moved away to the BJP. And the voter of Delhi did not completely buy the AAP narrative that this was all about the lieutenant governor. You have separate data points on that as well. But let's start with this figure that only 2 in 5 voters, only 28% of voters were fully satisfied with the Aam Aadmi Party compared to 76% in 2020.
You're right, Barkha. And if you look at the results, that is an explanation which is coming out from the results as well. 2020 assembly election, Aam Aadmi Party had polled 54% vote. Now Aam Aadmi Party vote, the decline is almost 11%, 10 to 11%. What does this indicate? Clearly indicates that the people's endorsement for the Aam Aadmi Party government is not as high as it used to be 5 years ago. So a clear indication, the data and the results corresponds with each other. Aam Aadmi Party has been badly defeated in Delhi.
Yeah. But, when you get down into why this happened, right? So, for example, was the Aam Aadmi Party has always said, oh, the lieutenant governor on instructions of the BJP did not let us work. Now, the Lok Niti CSDS survey actually finds that while 3 in 10 voters in Delhi believed this, nearly an identical number believed that this was just a bahana, an excuse by the Aam Aadmi Party. And 25% of those that you surveyed actually said that corruption was the main reason for denying the AAP another term. So when you look at these two figures together, that 3 in 10 voters roughly thought that the AAP was making excuses about the lieutenant governor. 25% thought corruption was a reason enough to deny the Aam Aadmi Party another chance. It seems that the BJP's allegations of the liquor scam, the Sheesh Mahal, stuck with a large number of voters, and the AAP's narrative कि भाई LG साहब हमें काम ही नहीं करने देते did not go down convincingly with the majority of the voter base.
Absolutely. There's no denying the fact that if you look at the data, I must also mention that if you look at the work done by Aam Aadmi Party government on the two front, which is about government school and about Mohalla clinic or government hospital, on these two accounts, Aam Aadmi Party's work has been largely endorsed. A very large number of people said that, the government work on these two accounts has been excellent. But when it comes to corruption, I think corruption was one big issue which cost the Aam Aadmi Party government so heavily. You rightly mentioned one data. There are other data points with regard to corruption. And all these indicate that a very large number of people believe that this is not a honest government. There is a lot of corruption in this government. When it comes to LG, because Aam Aadmi Party always kept saying that they want to work, they want to do various kinds of work, but every time they want to initiate something, it gets stuck in the office of LG. But this narrative is actually the opinion of the people on this narrative is divided. Yes, similar number of people believe this narrative, but the similar number of people, same proportion of people don't believe this narrative. So I think the two things which cost Aam Aadmi Party, one big factor was corrupt government. This is a government which is corrupt. It is not an honest government. So corruption became a very big point, which because of which voters rallied away from Aam Aadmi Party and went towards BJP.
Yeah. And in terms of corruption, would you say that it was the liquor scam or the perception around the Sheesh Mahal, the extravagant bungalow that Arvind Kejriwal built for the chief minister, that actually hurt him more?
Both. I think if there was only one allegation, maybe the charges of corruption may not have stuck for Aam Aadmi Party that much. But there were a couple of things. You mentioned first the liquor scam, and on the charges of people being involved in the liquor scam, though it has not been proved, several leaders were sent to the jail. Then about the Mohalla clinic, one of the ministers spent a couple of years in jail. And then this whole narrative of Sheesh Mahal, that how much money has been spent by Chief Minister himself for, in the name of renovation of the Chief Minister house. So all these factors put together, BJP was able to build a narrative successfully that this is a government which is not honest. This is a government which is where there is a lot of corruption.
Yeah, and basically the big thing that emerges from the Lokniti CSD survey is that two things that the Aam Aadmi Party tried. One, to say that they were victims of a weaponized enforcement directorate, right? And two, to say that the Lieutenant Governor and the Modi government weren't letting them work. These were not convincingly bought beyond their very, very core base, right? Because otherwise, the three men who spent time in jail, Kejriwal himself, Sisodia, and Satyendra Jain, would not have lost.
No, absolutely. On the two questions which you have mentioned, we did ask questions on the two issues, and on these two issues, whether it is about LG or whether it is about central government playing in vindictive politics, and they are being unfair to Aam Aadmi Party's leader, the opinion is sharply divided. Similar proportion of people believe that central government has been vindictive, and if you look at the number of people who don't agree with this narrative, is the same. So opinion on the two issues are divided, and only the core supporters of Aam Aadmi Party are ready to criticize central government's initiative, and they are ready to say yes, this is the vindictive politics of central government, and also ready to believe that Aam Aadmi Party government may not have been able to deliver because LG has always obstructed the work of Aam Aadmi Party. But generally, I think the perception got created that only excuses are being shot by this government because they have not been able to deliver things which was promised to the people of Delhi.
Now, moving away from why the AAP may have lost to how the BJP won, the Lokniti CSDS survey looks at the social coalition, the social base built by the BJP, and finds that primarily it is a base built from upper caste Hindu votes as well as OBC votes. And the BJP is also able to take some section of the Dalit vote. So while the Valmiki community votes overwhelmingly with the Aam Aadmi Party, the non-Valmiki Dalit vote base, which is the other Dalit groups, I think if I'm not wrong, I have the figure here, while 67% of Valmikis voted with the AAP, among other Dalits, 41% voted with the BJP. So the BJP builds a winning coalition on upper caste and OBC votes, but also manages to take 41% of Dalit votes, other Dalit votes who are non-Valmiki Dalits. Talk a little bit about this.
No, absolutely. You have already mentioned the data, but one data which you didn't mention, I think it also needs to be mentioned about the Muslim vote. If you look at what proportion of Muslim voted in favor of Aam Aadmi Party in 2020, it was at the tune of 83%. In this election, roughly 65 to 66% Muslims voted in favor of Aam Aadmi Party, and BJP took away a sizable chunk. 14% of Muslims, for the first time, I think, in the city of Delhi, voted in favor of BJP. 16% Muslim vote also went to the Congress. So Aam Aadmi Party also got a setback because there was a division of the Muslim vote. If you look at the Dalit vote, yes, Valmikis voted in favor of Aam Aadmi Party in a big way. But if you look at the other Dalits, non-Valmiki Dalit, a sizable number of them also shifted in favor of BJP. If you compare these data with how the Dalits voted in 2020, you can clearly see that there is a huge shift of Dalits away from Aam Aadmi Party towards BJP.
Now, this is very interesting because what you're actually saying, and I want to get to the Muslim vote in a moment from now, but you're basically saying that the AAP over depended, right? The AAP was over dependent on Muslims and Dalits, and it could not keep these two chunks, actually, these two communities consolidated with itself. So, in the non Valmiki Dalits, it loses 41%. But the huge point that you're making is that there is a significant drop in the number of Muslims who vote for the AAP. And while the Congress takes some, the BJP does get some Muslim vote.
It is not surprising to see BJP getting Muslim vote in the states where there is a bipolar contest between BJP and the Congress. Say, for example, say Gujarat, Himachal, Uttarakhand, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh. So if there is a bipolar contest between BJP and Congress, BJP does manage to get, like 15, 16, 18% Muslim vote. But in the states where there is a triangular contest and there is a new party which has come in, or a strong regional party, say for example, Bihar, UP, Assam, Bengal, and similar such state, then BJP's support base among the Muslims goes down to 2 or 3%, not more than that, not above 5%.
And this time, and this time,
Delhi
what did
also
you find?
Delhi also fits in that category, that it's not a bipolar contest, it's a triangular contest. There is a strong regional party, not regional party technically, Aam Aadmi Party. Still, BJP manages to get 14% of the Muslim vote. So there is clearly a shift of Muslim vote away from Aam Aadmi Party towards the BJP. I think this is a big achievement for BJP in Delhi.
But how do we explain this? How do we explain that this shift did not go to the Congress, for example?
See, first, Aam Aadmi Party was not the favorite of the Muslim, at least a very large number of Muslim in this election, because the complaint was that when we have voted for Aam Aadmi, we had voted for Aam Aadmi Party in a huge manner in 2020. But when we were in trouble, when we needed their support, the party didn't take any stand. And this was a reference to Shaheen Bagh protest or CA protest, NRC protest, because Aam Aadmi Party leader and Aam Aadmi Party government did not take any firm stand regarding that. When it came to which party they should vote for, Congress was not seen as a competitor, and they found it very difficult to shift their vote towards Congress because they thought the vote will get wasted. So in some of the constituencies where BJP seems to be in a winning position, they thought, why not go along with the winning candidate? And they openly came out to show their support to the BJP, and that is why I think the support went to the BJP more or less in similar proportion as we saw for Congress.
But that's a huge thing, right? And it's also irrelevant that the BJP did not fight a very polarizing campaign in Delhi. So that's also an important fact, right? Even though many of its leaders, Ramesh Biduri, for example, had made anti-Muslim comments in parliament, but the BJP itself as a campaign did not fight a polarizing campaign. Basically, you're saying that roughly as many Muslims voted for the BJP as did for the Congress in Delhi. I mean, that's staggering.
No, absolutely. The data is on the screen. For Congress, 16% Muslim voted for the Congress and 15% Muslim voters voted for the BJP. This is a big achievement, as I mentioned earlier, for BJP. I think one of the reason is that the campaign was not aggressively anti-Muslim by BJP. So they were not feeling the pinch. So I think some of them decided to go along with the BJP because they did not see a divisive politics being played by BJP, at least during the campaign.
And they didn't see the Congress as the real contender. and they had got somewhat disillusioned, or a section of them had got somewhat disillusioned with the Aam Aadmi Party.
Absolutely, you put it rightly. They did not see Congress in a winning seat. They did not see Congress winning the election, so they didn't want to waste the vote. And the disenchantment from the Aam Aadmi Party was very clear because of party or the government not taking any clear stand on these issues.
The other interesting divide thrown up by your survey is the gender divide, right? So the BJP does much better among male voters. It actually goes up by 8 percentage points. The AAP falls by 10 points among male voters. The AAP does better among women voters, but even not as well as it did among women voters in 2020. So explain this gender divide.
So clearly, you can see Aam Aadmi Party was still the favorite among the women voter. I think 6% more women voted in favor of Aam Aadmi Party compared to the men, how men voted in favor of Aam Aadmi Party. So clear divide. But if you compare it with 2020, there is a huge decline. There is a very sharp decline among women's support for Aam Aadmi Party. I think this sharp decline is precisely because it's not only among the women, but if you look at section by section, if a party is losing 11% vote share, then you can expect party to be losing vote support base among all the sections, including women. But I think the decline of women's support for Aam Aadmi Party is much sharper compared to many other community. I think the promises which has been made by BJP and the kind of delivery mechanism BJP has been able to demonstrate in other states, whether it is Maharashtra or Madhya Pradesh, the states which recently went to poll. So it seems some of the women also got attracted towards the promises made by BJP, but still we know that BJP was not the favorite of women voter. Aam Aadmi Party still remained the favorite of women voter. But I think the shift away from Aam Aadmi Party is because the promises made by other parties, for some women, it looked more attractive.
Now, one of the mysteries of this election has been the brand of Kejriwal himself. While pre-poll surveys seem to suggest that in the absence of a face put up by the BJP, Kejriwal remained top of the mind, was the person who routinely got polled as the preferred chief ministerial candidate. And most people have voted not on central issues, but on national issues, but on local Delhi-related issues. Why do you think it is that the BJP, without a CM contender, was able to beat the AAP, which had a CM contender?
It is true that whenever a question on who should be the CM was asked in any of the pre-poll surveys, Arvind Kejriwal was at the top of the list. But in our survey, a very sizable number of voters, so Kejriwal, if I remember correctly, was at 36, 37. But 26, 27% voters also mentioned that anyone from BJP is acceptable as the CM. Because Kejriwal's, yes, he remained more popular compared to any other face. But his popularity, there was a huge decline in his popularity. If you compare BJP's vote share is much higher compared to the popularity rating of the chief minister. Not the chief minister, but Arvind Kejriwal, not the sitting chief minister. If you look at the similar data in other states, popular chief ministers generally poll much higher numbers compared to the vote polled by the party. But in Delhi, that was not the case. Clearly, he did not remain a vote puller for the party in 2025 assembly election. If Kejriwal was to be given all the credit for Aam Aadmi Party's victory in 2020 and 2015, I think a lot of blame has to be taken by Kejriwal for the defeat of Aam Aadmi Party in 2025 because of the image which he has been able to build. There was a huge decline. There was a huge, disappointment among the people that this man who promised to bring about new changes in politics, who promised to deliver new kind of politics, has not been able to do that.
So you're saying basically, if you look at the vote share of the Aam Aadmi Party compared to the kind of preference expressed by people in your survey for Kejriwal as a CM candidate, the AAP was preferred as an entity to Kejriwal. The brand AAP became bigger than Kejriwal.
Yes, absolutely. The data is very clear. 43% votes to Aam Aadmi Party, but when it came to who should be the chief minister, Arvind Kejriwal is much lower than that at 37%. As I mentioned, if you look at popular chief ministers in other states, at one time Naveen Patnaik, at one time Nitish Kumar in Bihar, Mamta Banerjee in West Bengal, and we can look look at other chief ministers in different states. Most of these chief ministers would be ranking higher than the votes polled by the party. That is an indicator that leader still remains far more popular than the party, and leader still has the ability to pull votes for his party. That was clearly not the case in case of Delhi 2025 assembly election.
Now, your survey actually looked at, just to remind our audience of this data point, that 2 in 5 voters were fully satisfied with the center, but the center's performance was not what they based their choice on. They did look at Delhi, as they always have, as a local election, different from the Lok Sabha, which the BJP has always swept. The question for you is this: therefore, Kejriwal diminished as a brand. How big a factor was Modi? What did your survey find on that?
The satisfaction with the central government is a proxy to how they see Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government. Clearly, if the satisfaction is high about the performance of central government, it is a reflection about how they see Prime Minister Modi's work. We did ask one question, which leader influenced your voting decision? And on that question, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is at the top. Clear indication that Prime Minister Modi was a factor in Delhi Assembly elections 2025.
But it's interesting that you say that Modi was a factor, because the BJP has clearly shifted strategy in not using Modi, the prime minister, as a frontline warrior in the assembly elections after June.
No, clearly he was not as active as we have seen him campaigning a couple of years ago in the state assembly election. And BJP may not be very sure whether how the performance is going to be for party in Delhi assembly election. So Prime Minister Modi was not in such a manner upfront, the big campaigner, but still, from people's point of view, people still considered him as an important factor. People still considered the work of central government as important, and that is an indication that Modi still was in the mind of the voters of Delhi.
Finally, the big debate is what would have happened had the Congress and the AAP been in alliance. There are individual seats, for example, Kejriwal's own seat, where the votes polled by a Sandeep Dixit, if you look at those votes, that is slightly more than the margin by which Kejriwal lost. So the question is, had AAP and Congress fought together, and we know politics is not plain math, what might have happened?
See, there are 13 seats where the defeat margin of Aam Aadmi Party or the victory margin of BJP is less than the votes polled by the Congress party. I'm not saying that if Congress and AAP were in alliance, all these votes have, come to Aam Aadmi Party. But we can safely say that out of these 13 seats, if there was an alliance between Aam Aadmi Party and Congress, 6, 7, 8 seats could have come to Aam Aadmi Party's kitty. What would have been the tally then? Maybe Aam Aadmi Party Congress tally could have been 29-30, and BJP's tally could have been, like 30-40, 30-40. The numbers would have looked very different. The victory of BJP would have looked smaller than what it is now. But I don't think that a alliance of Aam Aadmi Party and Congress would have turned the table against BJP.
So you're saying it could have made a difference to the margin or to the gap, and definitely improved the performance of the opposition, but not made a difference to the eventual outcome.
At least the data which is in front of us, the results from 70 assembly constituency, is an indication, clearly indicates that some of the seats would have come to Aam Aadmi Party's side. Aam Aadmi Party Congress alliance could have won some of the seats which they got defeated by small margins, 300, 500,000 votes. But it is difficult to assume, at least I am not going to believe, that all the 13 seats which Aam Aadmi Party lost because Congress polled more votes than the defeat margin of Aam Aadmi Party would have come to Aam Aadmi Party's side. So my personal view is that it would have made the victory of BJP look smaller, and the defeat of Aam Aadmi Party also look smaller.
Well, Kejriwal could have won his own seat if there was no Sandeep Dixit. Possibly.
Looks like, yes, I can say for sure that if Sandeep Dixit was not there, maybe
Yeah.
Kejriwal would have been able to win his own seat.
Now, let me ask you, in terms of national politics, where does this leave the almost defunct India bloc?
Very difficult to say something about that, because I think the entire euphoria and jubilation of the 2024 good performance by by India alliance partner has evaporated very quickly. First, the defeat in Haryana, and now the defeat in Delhi. It's not only the defeat, even after the defeat, during the campaign, look at tone the tone and the anger at which leaders of Aam Aadmi Party are accusing the Congress, and the Congress leader accusing Aam Aadmi Party. The attack on Aam Aadmi Party was more aggressive by the Congress leader compared to the BJP leader, in my opinion. So the future of India alliance seems to be very, very bleak. It has not stopped even after, Aam Aadmi Party's defeat. If you look at the TV debates on the prime time these days, the Congress spokesperson are still speaking in the same language, same tone and tenor as they were doing during the campaign. So I don't
Yeah.
think that there is any respite in the growing animosity between India alliance partner. The elections which are going to come by end of this year, we have Bihar. Congress will find it very difficult to bargain with RJD. Next year early, you have Bengal, you have Kerala, you have Assam, and Tamil Nadu, the big state.
Yeah.
Puducherry also goes to poll. And in
Yeah.
some of the states, very difficult for India alliance partner to work out a seat sharing arrangement. How does Mamata Banerjee adjust Congress forming an alliance? Kerala, in Kerala, Congress and the left would be fighting against each other. So, in my opinion, the future of India alliance is not going to be very, very bright. I think there is a big question mark on how the India alliance is going to survive.
Absolutely. And yet the penny doesn't seem to drop. The opposition really needs to pay attention to the data points raised in the Lokniti CSDS surveys. Professor Sanjay Kumar, always a pleasure. Thank you. Take care. Namaskar.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.